CEO Comics talking about Star Trek Discovery, the best and the worst. Now, I've already made a Star Trek Discovery video, actually two of them, very long ones, talking about how to fix it. But I decided I want to make a more concise best and worst one with a picture that more people will want to click on. So I'm doing it this way. And basically, here's the deal: the best thing about Star Trek Discovery is how it looks. Like these two episodes I saw were amazing to look at. The special effects were amazing. There's so many cool things in this thing. So many awesome things going on in here. The battles were awesome looking. It was a lot of fun. I like it looks so great. The best Star Trek special effects I've ever seen. At least for a TV show, especially. But definitely, movie quality, very nice, wonderful stuff. The makeup was so good, especially on that guy that was played by the guy who was Abe Sapien. That is awesome to see. This new awesome race, it's like that. This new awesome race hanging out with everybody who's actually can be very helpful in certain situations that they have, because it's like yeah, this is dangerous. We gotta get, we're basically we're prey for other people, other creatures. So yeah, we can tell that this stuff's dangerous. This is not good. This is we gotta get out of here. So he has like a sixth sense, like a spider sense and stuff. And he's like, yeah, this is bad news. Let's retreat. Let's get out. Let's go. I like that. He's pretty awesome guy. He's pretty awesome stuff. I look forward to seeing more stuff with this guy because Abe Sapien was amazing. I want to see some cool stuff with this guy. See how good what kind of cool stuff he can do. It'd be nice. Yeah, it's really good. It's really cool technology, the technology on display, all this stuff. But it's held back by the worst thing about this show. But I'll get to that later. First of all, after talking about how things look, and also certain people I like seeing in their roles, we come to the worst stuff. Okay, the worst stuff. They set the least worst. Okay, we'll start least to greatest here. Least worst would have to be that it is only on CBS All Access. Now, this is I call it the least worst because it did not stop me from watching it. I was able to go on YouTube, type in Star Trek Discovery, and find both episodes and watch them. Okay, see, so that's not that bad for me. It's bad for CBS All Access, CBS and CBS All Access, because they're losing money by messing around like this, not putting it on something that where more people will see it. I was like, why charge money for this? Why not put it on some place where more people can see it and just live off the ad revenue you're gonna generate from people watching this new Star Trek? That's my issue there. You should work on that. That's what I think you should do. But yeah, they gotta work on that. That's the biggest thing. That's the least worst because it doesn't hurt me. It hurts them. And of course, I'm not gonna say who. I'm not gonna say whose channel I saw it on, because it doesn't matter. You can delete their channel. More people will come along and just put it up again. You can just delete their videos, delete their channel, all that stuff. You can hate it. You say, don't do this anymore. Cease and desist, whatever. But the people will just keep putting it up because they want to see it. Stuff like that. That's how it goes. Put it on something better, so then they don't have to do it. They don't have to pirate this thing so much. So that'd be great. That's the least worst. Second worst is the new Klingons. Okay, and now the way they're portrayed is good. I like seeing these guys, basically saying, hey, they have these people, the Federation, they're taking over. We gotta stop them. They could end up destroying us. We gotta stop them. That's fine. But their look is an issue. Their look is an issue because it's different than Star Trek Next Generation Klingons, which are our standard go-to Klingons right now. Which are standard go-to Klingons right now. But yeah, it's held back. Basically. But other than their look. I like the characters. The main Klingon guy, I forget, kind of, I don't know if I'm pronouncing his name. Going to pronounce his name right, so I'm not really gonna say it. But the main Klingon guy and that albino one who he apprentices, those two were amazing. Together. It was just so cool to see them. We have sympathetic villains, and I love having a sympathetic villain because then it's like it's more complicated that way. It's not just black and white. It's not just I was, the hate the villain, yeah, take them out, destroy them. No, I'm like, I kind of can understand why they're afraid of the Federation. I can understand why they want to do this. But again, there's stuff that holds them back. And that's the worst part. The stuff that holds them back is the worst, and that it is set in the past. It is that Star Trek Discovery is supposedly set before Kirk and Spock. That is the worst thing. That is the thing that everyone, including myself, hates about the show more than anything else because it just messes up everything else. Anything good in here is messed up by that one mistake, in my opinion, a mistake. Here's the issue: those Klingons, okay, could be if they. These could be an offshoot of our TNG Klingons, and that's the issue. If this was set after Voyager, after the Dominion War, then this would be perfect because then here's how the deal goes. First of all, you got the Dominion War just decimated just everybody in the entire galaxy, to find these guys, having to fight the Jem'Hadar and the Changelings and the Void whatever. They had to fight all these guys. This decimated everyone, so. Now you got Star Trek, the Federation having to use, older ships. So you can have your older ship designs because they have to use older ships to fill out their fleet because a bunch of ships got destroyed, during the Dominion War. There you go, Now you can have your, awesome retro, awesome throwbacks to retro classic designs in your in your modern day Star Trek show. Done. Second, the Klingons. Okay, these new Klingons could be an offshoot of the original of the Next Generation Klingons, who are basically like the lowest of the low. They're defects basically. They could be considered defects, but they're basically a genetic offshoot. Like say you have the original series Klingons who look mostly human, except for they're darker skinned. That's a genetic abnormality too. Then they have the regular the Klingons, the normal Klingons, who have the who look pretty human, but have the larger foreheads, and everything like that we know and love. Then you have these guys who are even more, crazier headed, and they could be like, outcasts and just be like, and then you have this guy who rallies a bunch of them together to be like, okay, let's start showing these guys that we can actually be honorable, we can actually do cool stuff, that we are truly Klingon, and you can have basically. Basically, they can be launching attacks on whoever they're trying to launch attacks on. But back in the past, before the Dominion War, the Klingon Empire, made up of Klingons that we like the way they look, they were able to keep them in check. They were able to keep them in check because there's like, there's way more of us than there are of you. Take them out. So. But now that they've been decimated by the Dominion War, they can't, these guys are like, this is our opportunity to do this stuff. They don't have enough ships to, fill out, to help out, to stop these guys either, So there's basically like, they're decimated, other people are decimated, then this guy, this guy who's a defect, or an offshoot, he can say, okay, this is my chance to prove that I am truly Klingon. I'm going to expose the Federation as a threat to what's left of the Klingon Empire, talk to the 24 houses of the Klingon Empire. You can still have that are just plain, regular Klingons. Even like they'd be like saying to him, "Yeah, you're a defect. You're some sort of, you're the lowest of the low. Why should we listen to you? Like, I'll show you why we should listen to you. You should listen to me. Look at this. Look at these guys right here. This thing, that thing. They could be, definitely look at these things right here. They could have proof, and then of course you see a battle. The battle lines get drawn, and you see all the crazy stuff going on because." They were like, hey man, what are you doing here? Shooting at, are you responsible for that Klingon attack, all those Klingon attacks all those years ago, that our main character had to deal with, Hello, that could be awesome. Starfleet is trying to stop these guys from attacking Starfleet outposts. But that guy is using the opportunity to show that the Federation are trying to take over everything. So it would be really cool and complicated and wonderful. If it was set in the present. Okay, I am ready. Don't get me wrong. I liked prequels before. I liked Star Trek Enterprise, especially when they staged their own story. The episode where Captain Archer got that brain, that stuff in his brain from that alien entity that made it so he couldn't form more long-term memories. was amazing because the guy went from being the cap one day, in a day, the guy went from being the captain of the starship to being, basically retired because he couldn't. He was like wake up every day thinking he's the captain of the starship, but he's not. Years have weeks and months and years have passed since he was captain. So it's like, oh, okay, what about that one mission we're doing? It's like, oh, we did that a long time ago. Like, oh, just come on going, come on going, come on going. And it's like, then that was a cool episode because it helped us feel sorry for him, and to Paul and all these other people because it's like now then things are just got messed up now so I liked that when they stuck to their own stuff. It was great when they revealed things like the Borg, which you didn't need to reveal, because it was like, who cares, obviously a foreshadowing of something that we didn't need foreshadowed because it was already done, that was annoying. But when they kept in the universe, it was great. Then of course you had the J.J. Abrams films. I liked those because they were fun reimaginings of what the Star Trek the original series was like, with with way cooler special effects and stuff. I really like seeing that too, and I want to see more movies like that, but only movies. I am ready for a new Star Trek in the present day because there's so much cool stuff you can do here. Red Letter Media, or the guys from Red Letter Media were saying the same stuff. Basically, they were saying like he was like one guy who I believe is the voice of Harry Plinkett was like saying, yeah, there are two things I do with this, I think I do when I think about this Star Trek. I'll basically say it's a long time after TNG and all the others, and stuff like that. In a different, he says it in a different universe, but still. He's saying, yeah, it's in the future. I agree with him that it should be in the future, because that to me is the worst. Because then you got other stuff going on. Sarak, why Sarak? It could have been any Vulcan, and it would have been fine because we were like, oh, cool. Michael's, is adopted by a Vulcan. I'm cool. No problem. Why does that be Sarak? Okay, there's enough done with him. You don't need any more done with him. He's okay. He's good. Then it's like, you got, what's next? Like himself. Yeah, the Sarek stuff was a bit interesting, and then of course the Vulcan stuff. Why? To me this is not exactly as bad as the Pat being in the Prass stuff, but it's still annoying. The light year spanning mind link thing that was really weird. Even in Star Trek, that's just strange, especially for a Vulcan. Because here's the deal: Vulcans. Unlike say a Q or what are those guys, the Metros or whatever they are from the original series or whatever, they are not omnipotent beings. An omnipotent being could be like, yeah, I'm a godlike being. I can talk to you over a long period distance. This is a Vulcan. Okay, they mostly use telepathy because they can touch a person. They're in touching distance. Maybe the guy from Star Trek 5 was like half Betazoid or something like that, so he could hit you from across the room, but still, you had to be near enough. So having them thousands, him be thousands of light years away and still being able to talk, even though he's like, oh, I'm getting a headache from doing this whole bullcrap. I'm like, man, come on, it's so bad, and I'm like, there's a perfectly good way to write that out. He mind melded with her, when she was younger to help her to bring her back from the brink of death. So she could have his thoughts inside of her, maybe even have him in speaking to her when she quiets her mind and meditates like Cortana from Halo. That would work just fine. You can still have that scene. There's so many things you can still have. You have the old ships from Starfleet, retrofitted. They're not the strongest ships. They're not the strongest ships ever, so they could have problems in battle. And you can still have Michael's line about not using those old school transporters because they use too much power, things like that. You can still have the captain's line about being, still the ship may be old, but it still gets us from A to B. There's so many cool things about that. It was just weird, just so weird that they had in the past. Now I've just heard recently there is a thing about Section 31 or whatever, the dark side of the Federation or whatever it's called. Basically, this could be like a show about that. That would make it better, but I would prefer it to be in the future. Just, I would rather just be in the future because yeah, that's just so yeah. To me, it still is weirdly weird. And then of course it's like, oh no, yeah. Again, they'll be foreshadowing things that have already happened. Even with this secretive stuff, where it's like, oh yeah, hey, we caused this, like Lion King 1.5 or something like that. Like we caused this, we caused that, very famous event. I'm like, ugh, just degrading everything. It just weakens it. I'm like, no, I don't like that. I don't like that. So I hope they'll do better. I really hope they'll figure that out because they could do it. I just don't know how, but they could figure out how to do all that stuff and fix it all and make it all really really nice. I would love to see it, you know, on something other than CBS All Access. It'd be really great. And of course, also people are comparing this Star Trek Discovery to the Orville, and to Orville, and saying that Orville is better. And right now, I have to agree with them that it is. But I'll get into that more when I talk with my Orville best and the worst. So to sum up, the best thing about Star Trek Discovery is its awesome atmosphere. Well, the look of it. It's the look of it, the potential it could have with these characters and settings and stuff. If and the worst is that it's in the past. It doesn't need to be in the past. There's enough stuff in there. I'd rather be in the present, Star Trek present, basically, and that would make everything way better. Just fix everything. It would fix just about everything. People hate about the show, including me. And it would just be much better. So that's what's worse. Oh yeah. Also, there was some another nitpick, another not nitpick, but another issue that's not the worst, but is pretty crazy. It might make for a good Mad magazine or cartoon parody or how it should have ended thing. Um, Basically, there was one part where Michael has been put in the brig. Okay, for a mutiny, which was a very crappy mutiny. It was not a very smart way to mutiny. Okay, she basically was like saying she made good points. Saying, hey, here's the reason why the Vulcans and the Klingons, the Vulcans are, basically, fought. They had to deal with Klingons before, and they basically would just immediately start shooting at them. After a ship of theirs was destroyed, they realized these guys are just about combat. They're just going to destroy any ship that they come across. So we're just going to shoot at them first. Whatever. So they shot at them. The Klingons were like, "Oh crap! Stay away from those guys. They're crazy." So she's like, "Hey, we should do the same thing." But Captain's like, "No, we don't. We're a Federation. We don't shoot first." So it's like, I can understand both views, but yeah, I have to agree with. I was like, I have to agree with the captain of the ship. She's right. That's not Federation policy. But then she's like, okay, Captain, can we talk privately? So it's like, okay. So they're talking for a little bit, and she's still not agreeing. But then it's like, she's like, hey, look over there. I'm like, what? I'm like, nerve pinch. I was like, oh. I'm like, okay. Some people hate that because she's a human, but I kind of liked it because I was okay with it because she was trained by a Vulcan. She was raised by Vulcans. So it's okay with me. But she didn't, tie her up or lock her in a place, lock her someplace, like say computer, or oh crap, just like walk out the ready room like computer lock, authorization code, this, that, and the other thing, oh no. Or something like that, or medical attention, or emergency, preparing. Oh no, medical emergency. So says, be, captain of sick bay, like to be with a sick bay, stuff like that, and then just be like, okay, I'm gonna go, I'll be back, and then she like wakes up like, ugh, just like it's like, it's like her, it's just she's sick, so they basically some type of thing to delay her long enough to get her plane off the ground, but she didn't do that. She just was like, okay, I knocked you out. Excuse me, step over you. The captain says captain's deliberating. You should fire all weapons. Go. It's like no. She comes back out with like a phaser at her. I'm like, I'm like, well, you idiot. Then after that, she's put in the brig, and then they fight in the battle starts. You have the bunch of Klingon ships come over because they didn't. A bunch of Klingon ships come over. A bunch of Federation ships come over, and they start shooting at each other. And eventually, they start shooting at each other, and the Sanjo gets hurt. Okay, the Sanjo, their ship gets damaged. Gets like a hole blown into it. Right where Michael is on the brig. So all that's left of the brig and the surrounding area is the floor and the force field that she's being protected by. So she's like, so it's like, okay, what do I do? She's like, like, computer, can you get me out? She'll figure out some way to he's like, computer, there there must be some way to get me out of here, because that's just like, there's the force field is the only thing stopping her from being in space. So it's like wait a minute, what's that over there? She says, looks at a place where there's an emergency force field. There's like a gaping hole, the gaping part of the ship where there's an emergency force field, but that is just not the brig. This is like a regular part of the ship. She's like, hey, sorry. I was like, computer, is that area pressurized? He's like, affirmative. He's like, oh, well, okay. He's like, listen, if basically what she said, listen, if when this force field when is this force field going to go down, around the brig? And it's like, brig force field going to go down. It's like, oh, the power, sufficient power. Like, I was like, oh, like 8 minutes of power remaining on this force field. He's like, oh, okay. So then after that, I will die. And I was like, yes. So he's like, affirmative. He's like, okay. So yeah, your ethical subroutines forbid such an occurrence. And I was like, that is affirmative. It's like, yes, so there must be a way for me to survive. I was like, oh yeah. It's like calculating. I'm like, oh yes, let me help you with that. Maybe if you would open a hole in the force field big enough for me to slip through with the air pressure pushing me out, then I could be sent over to the other force field. You could open a hole for that, long enough for me to go into it. I would only be exposed to space for a few seconds, and I would survive. So, would that be plausible? She's like, oh, confirmed. We're ready to do this thing. So she does. This happens, and it's very awesome and adventure style, like J.J. Abrams style, like when especially on Into Darkness when they went out the airlock, when Kirk and Khan went out the airlock and stuff and flew around. That was cool. But there was one small issue. At first, I was like, okay, that's cool. If she figured it out, it looks kind of cool. But then I realized something. How fast was she going? I was thinking, yeah, she's exposed to space for like a few seconds. How fast is a person pushed when the explosive decompression takes place? Think about that. Through the air. Now the force field's going to open up. The computer's going to open up the force field big enough for her to slip through and then close it. Okay, so she doesn't have to worry about running into the force field, but she will have to run into the ground. The other side. So that would be a Mad TV, just total slapstick stick type of thing. Just like, woo, I made it. It's like, ugh. Now to warn everybody about the imminent doom or imminent battle. Dude. I'm like, yeah. She could probably come out away with that looking really silly and in a parody of some kind, like Mad TV or How It Should End It. Just be like, it's like my face, something like that. Just like. Wow, this, I'm thinking, real life, but that in the parody, in real life, she could have died if she slammed her head first. I could have killed her. Or if she slammed, feet first. Even if she went feet first, tails, she'd be injured. So that was really kind of weird. It was not necessarily a deal breaker for me, but it still was something just weird and like, maybe it's to the fall into the ball pit. No, even then, no. It was a ball pit. No, even then, no. Just thinking of all the calculations. Like, no. Still, it's the bottom of the ball pit. You go right through. No. There's so many troubles with that. But yeah, that's not much at all compared to it being in the past. Those being actual Klingons, as in the only ones around, which makes no sense. I'm not liking it. So it's just it's just those two things are the worst about this show. They should really fix those, and hopefully they will. I'm gonna go talk about Orville, to lighten up the mood. Well, basically have a better time reviewing something that is Star Trek related. Star Trek. Yeah. That is definitely in the same realm as Star Trek, as a science fiction show, which can have some comedy in it. See you guys next time. Check me out on YouTube and DeviantArt, especially my stuff about my Superman stuff. Superman is coming to an end finally. Doomsday's about Superman is finally able to defeat Doomsday. So now that we got our wrap up going, I'm working on the final pieces now. Eventually, it'll be done. We go on to Power Play, Star Butterfly, my Star Butterfly non-canon story. See you guys next time. And then, of course, Chrono Trigger's coming back. Go to work on that. See you guys next time.